What's up, vinyl community? It's Cliff the Vinyl Cheapskate here. I'm going to do a quick response to Stevies Vinyl. I'm going to do his contest, the DIY contest. Basically just contest, do what you want. I know he already reached his 100 subscribers, but I thought this was a fun one. This is a video that I wanted to do anyway. And I'm also kind of doing it as sort of a response to Jason Skill's video where he did crossover, which is really cool. He picked a lot of really good, kind of off the beaten track crossover stuff. Didn't go for the gimmies like Nuclear Assault or I think he did throw Sacred Reich in there, but he went for some good stuff that was a little off the beaten track, and I thought that was really cool. So what I'm gonna do for my entry into Stevies is kind of a reaction to that. It's gonna be metal and punk albums that kind of cross over with each other, but it's not your typical crossover stuff. They do different genres than just thrash and hardcore, like thrash metal and hardcore. So without further ado, I'm gonna got about 10 or 13 albums, or 10 to 12, 13 albums. I'm gonna count this as one of them. But it's Totalitar. They're more hard on the hardcore side, but they're heavy hardcore. I'm listening to this right now, Totalitar. But yeah, let's get started. I'm gonna start off with one of my favorite albums of all time. I got a lot of these are some of my favorite albums of all time. But I'm gonna start off with Dystopia's The Aftermath. And Dystopia are a super heavy, kind of sludgy, grindy. They throw a lot into their music, but it's definitely like based in hardcore. A lot of really heavy metal stuff on here. This is an original. It might be some sort of repress, but it's an early repress of their oldest one, and it's got a cool etched graphic on there. You can see it. But yeah, this is a single-sided EP that they put out 1999, I believe. Tank Crimes just did a reissue of it. It's really good. So if you want to check it out, check out Tank Crimes did a really cool reissue, which you can probably grab because it's right here. There you go. Yeah, Tank Crimes did a really cool reissue of this one. Dystopia is The Aftermath, and it's a double LP, and they put a bunch of like other stuff on it. Double LP on clear vinyl, clear wax. But Dystopia, The Aftermath, really tortured vocals, cool, like not off time, but like cool. Weird time signatures in that one, and really talented guys, bass-driven, kind of hardcore, doom metal-y. This is a lot going on in this record, but this is a great record. One of the most anxiety-ridden albums I've ever heard. But you should check that out if you want to get into some really heavy, hardcore metal punk. Next up, I'm going to do kind of a twofer, because they have some of the same members. But we'll start off with this one, and I've mentioned these guys before in my intro video. One of my favorite bands also is Heroes Gone. You can't get much more metal infused than this band. They went on to form Tragedy afterwards, and Tragedy was more of a like way more on the hardcore, like melodic hardcore, kind of crusty melodic hardcore side, Purple Vinyl. But this Heroes Gone, excellent metal infused, crusty punk stuff. They were from Tennessee, I believe. Nashville, Tennessee, I think. I forget. I don't remember. Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, they're from Memphis, Tennessee. Cool band. And this was kind of a side project of Tragedy and a bunch of other bands. You can see that. Severed Head of State. Severed Head Estate is just really driving D-beat, metallic D-beat stuff. Really cool, kind of discharge worshipping metallic hardcore. But this stuff is brutal. Brutal hardcore with Severed Head Estate. Check them out if you haven't checked them out before. We'll keep going with the D-beat stuff. And this is a new band. This is a really new band. And this came out in 2019. Yeah, 2019. And this was one of my favorites of 2019. And I was lucky enough to see these guys live before the shutdown. But this is Devil Masters. Satan Spits. Satan Spits on Children of Light is the name of the album. But this is like D-beat black metal, but with a really cool, like psychedelic, phalange guitar tone throughout the whole thing that just makes it have this really eerie, creepy feel all the way through. And this is like a dead center for black metal and D-beat. And they did a perfect job. And like I said, I got to see this band live right before everything shut down, and I was super happy about it. Came with this awesome, huge poster. There's the band there. Huge poster inside, really cool. And is this the one? This is the one that's on like the brightest yellow vinyl I've ever seen. So I'm gonna pull that out too. But Devil Master, flangey, I call it wavy black metal. Really cool wavy black metal band on the brightest vinyl. The camera doesn't do this justice. It's like blinding when you put it on the turntable. Alright, so next up, I've got a bunch of D-beat stuff, but let's do one that's not so D-beat. And this one falls more in the line of like that dark, crusty, hardcore, the doom metal-y. But this is Damad, Rise and Fall. Damad went on to become Kylesa, who were a much more well-known band. But this stuff is just like dark, kind of melodic, really weird vocal choices in these that make it really cool and eerie. But this is Damad's Rise and Fall, and this is a great album. Cool inner sleeve on that. Just really dark, sludgy hardcore coming from Georgia. Great stuff, Damad. Next up, most of this stuff from here on out is all D-beat stuff. I'll go on. That's another kind of a twofer. But this is another band. This is the same band. They changed their name, and I think it had to do with other bands having the same name. But this is Wolfpack and Wolfbrigade. And I mostly want to talk about this Wolfpack album. It's great. This is my favorite Wolfpack album. New Dawn Fades. This is killer. Metallic DB. And this is another one. This album came out in 2019 as well. So 2019, good year for cool insert. Oh, thing there. Picture of the back here is the band. But this is really cool metallic DB. Some of the best. Some people call it arena DB. I don't really see that so much, but it's really, really good metallic. They got really metallic on this album here, especially. Once they put this one out, they kind of put a lot of really like heavy metal guitar leads in here and really cool stuff. Check this out. If you got kind of sick of the Wolfbrigade sound a little bit, this one they came out and did some stuff that was a little different than on other albums, and this is great. From Sweden, Swedish DB. Here's another one that's kind of a D-beat album. This is what they call motor-charged punk. It's like Discharge and Motorhead had a rock and roll baby. But this is great. Punx and metalheads, I think, can both agree that this band does a killer job recreating like a Motorhead sound in their albums. And this is a collection of kind of unreleased tracks that just got released a few years ago. It's on black vinyl. It's also on Feral Ward, huh? But yeah, this only came out a few years ago, and came with another one that came with, this one came with a really giant poster. But motor charged, DB stuff. I'm ripping the poster here. But that poster's huge. It's like the size of me. Great stuff. I'm glad they put out this collection, because I was kind of like, because their stuff is really hard to find right nowadays, and it's getting a little ridiculous in price. So I'm glad they put this out so I can get some more stuff on vinyl. I only have one other one on vinyl, and I'm glad to have this. We're going to go back. We're going to go to something a little older. We're going to go to some Japanese hardcore. And Japanese hardcore, this is a form of hardcore called Burning Spirits hardcore, and this really does have a lot of really like show-offy heavy metal leads in this album. This is Death Side's Bet on Possibility. But this was a re-release that came out. Another one I was glad that got re-released because it was so ridiculously expensive for such a long time. This was also another Feral Ward repress. One of the best labels, Feral Ward. Check them out if you get a chance. They're great. But this has a lot of really like show-offy heavy metal leads. Really inspirational to like early 2000s hardcore. I feel like this band Death Side was. And this is great. If you like heavy metal and you like, even if you're not into like punk and crust and stuff, I think if you like heavy metal, you can get into this one too. But Bet on Possibility, Death Side. And next one's just Roky and the Sweden. This is another one it's been around for a long time, Roky and the Sweden. And they do really driving Japanese hardcore stuff. This one came on a cool colored variant. I'll pull it out. They called it resin colored because their whole thing is, the whole pot themed thing. But this band's awesome. More like kind of DBD, a little bit driving hardcore, cool leads. They throw in a little stoner flair here, a little rock and roll flair here and there. Resin colored vinyl, that was cool. And I'm gonna do one more, and this one was from last year, and they're a band that's still going on today. Hopefully they come around here and I get to see them live, because they're from not too far away from me. They're from Richmond, Virginia. And this one got put out on Vinyl Conflict Records. But this was one of my favorite punk albums in the last year or so. Loud Night, Mind-Numbing Pleasure. This album's really cool because it does there's the insert here, some lyrics and stuff. This band does like a really cool mix of styles. It's like Motorhead meets like Dark Throne meets like Discharge and Wolfpack. It's just really cool mix of like heavy metal. Definitely more on the punk side than the metal side, unlike I showed that Devil Master earlier. They do a mix of like black metal and D-beat, but they keep it more on the black metal side. This has a hint of like black metal vocals on there, and it just goes way more into like the Motorhead and punk hardcore side. But this album is amazing. One of my favorite albums from 2020, and definitely check this out if you get a chance. So that was my entry for Stevies Vinyl contest. Stevies Vinyl DIY contest. He likes punk and metal. I hope he checks out some of these. Stevie, if you're out there, check some of these out. I think you'll really like them. We seem to cross over a lot on our tastes. So check them out if you get a chance. And Cheers.